Okay, so I upgraded my mic, so the audio might be a bit better. I mean, I already did have this mic, but I didn't think it would actually work, so I'm glad it worked. And so the topic that I was trying to cover today was like how people fear boredom then they fear death, which is just like a ridiculous thing. And I think I was watching this documentary about Mount Everest, like how extremely dangerous it is to actually climb Mount Everest more than any other mountains in the world. But people actually prefer Mount Everest. The climbers actually prefer Mount Everest more than any other mountains to climb, and they are much more safer. And like as a guy that not really interested in actually doing any of those kind of stuff, like I don't get like how fucking interesting like does it actually get, you know? Because I feel like the view you get from Mount Everest is like, I don't think it's that much different than climbing the second biggest mountain in the world, you know? It's like must be like 5% difference. It's just a fact that I feel like people just love thrill, and they just love this fantasy about like what if they fucking die? And I think that is what keeps them going, doing this ridiculous stuff. I think it's mostly true with first world people, or like people living in the first world country. They don't have any like significant problem. They don't have this problem of like, I'm talking about like, people in Europe, or majority of the people in Europe that that are financially pretty well, billionaires and stuff, that pay thousands of dollars to actually go out there and just climb a mountain. They could do it much cheaper in climbing any other mountain and have the same kind of view. But I feel like it's the thrill that they are seeking for, which I think Mount Everest definitely provides. And they just love the feeling. I feel like it's, I think, my assumption, but I feel like they just love the fact, what if I fucking die? I think that is what is keeping them going, to this risky places. And I don't know why it's mostly white people. I'm not trying to be racist, but I just see mostly white people doing and being really interested in those kind of stuff. Because like they also, like with white people, I see them traveling to third world countries and risky third world countries, and I don't see like black people or like brown people actually going to those like extremely risky third world countries, which is dangerous for people to go, and they might have the chance of dying or just getting robbed and stuff. But most like white people don't give a fuck, and it's white people that have kind of lived a pretty nice life. If they kind of grew up in the streets, or like they had problems, financial problems, or like any like problems in their life, like I feel like they wouldn't be those kind of persons to actually go find thrill in those kind of things. It's mostly people that have had completely just average, comfortable, easy life with security of finance, health, and overall life, and they're kind of bored, and so they just either climb fucking dangerous mountains or just go squeeze in some fucking cave. And they usually have like fucking family and stuff waiting for them, but it's like they just go squeeze in some fucking cave and mostly fucking die. I don't know why they do that. It's just like insane to me. Like climbing Mount Everest kind of makes sense. But like cave, like the fuck. They're just so bored of their fucking ass that they just tend to just do those things. And yeah, I don't know why they do it, but it's just simply boredom. I feel like that is the cause. There could be more causes. A person could be actually just insanely just into those kind of things, and they're just not afraid to die. But I feel like most people have this innate system of like your body will protect you from killing, or like so that's why people avoid going to these risky things. But I feel like some people just completely have that part missing, the amygdala. I feel like that is the part that is responsible for fight or flight. So I think that is what is caused people to do it. So I feel like controlled chaos is what people need in their life, because as much as people say that they hate chaos and they just want peace in their life, I feel like the people that actually get peace, that they were wanting in their life, it's actually not that fun, because a level of chaos in your life is a bit needed for you to actually be sane and just not involve in going into these ridiculous like places where you risk your fucking life and just risk your family's mental health, because of you wanting to fucking explore the world and fucking die miserably in cold mountains and in some fucking shitty ass cave. So controlled chaos is what is needed in society to actually function, and a little bit of trouble and a bit of uncertainty in life is also pretty healthy. As much as people want to disagree, I feel like that is just insanely true, and I feel like that is the thing that makes people keep going and just progressing in their life. So yeah, so that was the concept of my so that's what I think. And yeah.